We call this project RegenPGC, and that PGC stands for Perennial Ground Cover. It's at the root, no pun intended, of the vision that we have to try to address some long-standing and very pressing environmental issues that arise with the high-yielding production agriculture that characterizes the Midwest. The vision that we have is to get a ground cover on the soil year-round. You may be aware that cover cropping, annual cover cropping, is an excellent way of reducing erosion and reducing nutrient loss. A challenge with annual cover cropping is that it requires both a planting and a termination of that cover crop every year, oftentimes near the time that other critical field operations are taking place. In this PGC, Perennial Ground Cover vision, what happens is we plant a perennial cover between the rows of corn and plant once, let it stay there for multiple years, providing those ecosystem services. A lot of people hear this idea, especially people who are very familiar with farming, and say, that's crazy. We want to plant into a clean field. We don't want competition early. That's actually a lot of the problem with weeds in the field, is the competition they provide. And what we've shown at small scale, and what our project is trying to do more reliably, is that we can actually manage that competition successfully enough that there is no yield penalty. If we can do that, we get some really critical ecosystem services we've been seeking for decades, related to reducing soil erosion, reducing the export of nutrients from these fields. And maybe we do that in a way that's economically neutral to farmers, doesn't require as much of their time, and therefore, and this is a very critical point, and therefore is more widely adopted than some of the other excellent techniques we have for making our systems greener that just aren't being adopted enough.
I grew up in central Nebraska, which is a corn growing region, just like we are here in Ames, Iowa. And Nebraska, just like Iowa, was previously diverse, perennial prairie ecosystems, and those ecosystems accomplished a lot. They were filtering water, they were sequestering carbon, there was carbon nutrient water cycles that were critical to the function of those ecosystems. And I think it's apparent that in agriculture we want to get back to mimicking those ecosystems in some way, and perennial ground covers are one of the easiest ways to introduce perenniality and diversity back into our dominant grain commodity systems.
It turns out that these row crops that we have spent so many years and really countless dollars on developing, they don't like competition, and we need to think about perennial covers that are complementary in time and space to those row crops. So two of the most promising candidates right now are, one you've heard of, Kentucky bluegrass, very common plant. So Kentucky bluegrass has some great qualities, and we have a heavy effort there. Another extremely promising perennial ground cover is RHB, or Radix hybrid bulbosa. That is an improved version of Poa bulbosa. The people who made those improvements are Radix out in Oregon. And they've actually been using this approach, this plant material, type of grass, bulbule propagating, in vineyards and orchards as a ground cover out west with quite a bit of success. We've trialed it, some members of our team have trialed that plant here in Iowa, and similarly have really had some success with it. But the truth is that I believe that in long term, we won't see just one winner. I believe that in the long term, if the vision that we have comes to fruition, that perennial ground cover will be done in different parts of the Midwest, and maybe even on different fields in one state, using perennial covers that are optimized for that location. We realize that this system will only come to fruition, our vision will only be realized if we involve farm owners and other key stakeholders from the get-go, and we have done that. Some of the really important groundwork for this project at Iowa State was done by Professor Ken Moore and by Professor Shuizhang Fei in horticulture. Between the two of them, they did work to, first of all, show that this perennial ground cover approach could work at small scale. They showed that the selection of ground cover was critical. They showed that many ground perennial plants didn't work well in this system. And they began early work to start to optimize ground covers, Dr. Fay in particular, to work in this system. We anticipate multiple benefits with these perennial ground covers. There are benefits of soil and water conservation that I've alluded to already. But there are also benefits such as weed suppression between the rows, which could be very valuable and might actually reduce the amount of pesticides needed in these systems. There are benefits like increased water infiltration, which could help soil moisture, benefits of stronger soil structure, which can actually help reduce lodging in strong wind events, falling of the plants being knocked over.
With perennial ground cover, farmers can continue to leverage the amazing yield gains made through corn and soybean breeding and agronomic research, while also protecting the environment on their farm, in their community, and downstream.
We have an amazing team of co-PDs, scientists on this project, as you can see here. They have appointments at institutions of higher learning like Iowa State and University of Wisconsin, and they are from critical commercial and non-governmental partners such as the Land Institute and Corteva.